This has been a very busy week for Star Wars news, but in today's video, we're going to change the pace a bit and look at some new information revealed in Crimson Reign issue number 3. As you guys know, when it comes to Star Wars comics, at least recent comics, I've been covering the Crimson Reign series and War of the Bounty Hunters before it. Admittedly, some of the story has been a slow burn, but the most recent issue, issue number 3, is without a shadow of a doubt the best one so far. It's not only a love letter to Revenge of the Sith, but also gives us some really crucial details for Yoda, the Archivist, and Qi'ra. Now this issue is a flashback to how the Archivist met Qi'ra and her first task working for Crimson Dawn. Up until now, the Archivist has been a creepy, mysterious blue lady who works for the Dawn and is an expert of intel. Her brain is an asset for the organization, but this issue gives us the revelation that she did not used to be like this. Once upon a time, not only did she look completely different, but she was an academic who was an expert of the Force and Jedi and Sith history, and she was even Yoda's apprentice on Dagobah. So no more jibber jabber, let's dive into it. The comic starts with Qi'ra saving the Archivist from Imperial arrest just after Order 66, when they discover that she owned an illegal Jedi artifact. And as we know, the Empire cracked down on anything related to the Jedi Order. Now we also learn that the Archivist's real name is Madeline's son. Qi'ra comes in and saves the day, kills the stormtroopers, and she proposes Madeline a position within Crimson Dawn. You see, here's the thing. After Order 66, Madeline found herself out of work, and this destroyed her self-esteem and confidence as a researcher. The Empire would not allow any Force research to be done in universities, and she says the moment she found herself out of work is the moment that she lost herself. She wanted nothing more than to be an academic again, and that's what Qi'ra is promising her. As long as Madeline agreed to work with her in Crimson Dawn's ultimate pursuit to kill Emperor Palpatine. Now we also learn a lot about Qi'ra. She owns a lot of Sith artifacts, and she attributes her success and obsession with these artifacts to her mentor, Maul, who she says taught her to acquire such an arsenal across the galaxy. I should also say this is the start of a very manipulative relationship between Qi'ra and the Archivist. Qi'ra knows how to play on her emotions to get what she wants. She is brutal, unforgiving, and learned from the best. So the two women recap Order 66, and Madeline reveals that she is lightly Force sensitive and that the dark side of the Force is what has always called out to her. In her eyes, quote, the light side represented the way that the Jedi wanted to live and act, the way they should be, but the dark side was more closely connected to how they actually were. The Archivist sees a personal truth in what the dark side offers. It does not mask one's true self with pompous arrogance, something she sees in the Jedi. But this is going to change in a few pages' time. We'll get there. Madeline agrees to work with Qi'ra, and she is given her first assignment. Qi'ra figures that the surviving Jedi who fled after Order 66 would probably want nothing more than to take down Palpatine, and one Jedi who Qi'ra has always wanted as an ally is Master Yoda himself. The only problem is, she doesn't know that he went into exile on Dagobah and his Force presence is masked, so she gives Madeline the task of tracking him down, and the next few panels are spent recapping the events after Order 66 that we see at the end of Revenge of the Sith. Essentially, the Archivist is trying to track down his footsteps and who Yoda might have told where he went. Madeline mentions that he was last seen at the Battle of Kashyyyk, and we do get a little Easter egg. We see Tarful on her screen. She then learns that Yoda was on Coruscant and later was on board the Tantive 3 with Bail Organa and Obi-Wan. She then traces the Tantive 3 to Naboo, where Bail Organa attended Padme Amidala's funeral, and she wonders if Yoda was with him. Of course we know that he wasn't. So after some extensive research, she finds out that a certain Jeremok Colton, the pilot of the Tantive 3, was still alive. Now this is a lovely callback to a minor character from episode 3. Colton was portrayed by Jeremy Bulloch, the legendary Boba Fett actor who unfortunately is no longer with us. The Archivist learns that Colton is in Imperial prison, but still, she gets access to him as a visitor. Now, as you would expect, he refuses to speak, claiming he knows nothing, but after using drastic measures in the form of a thought dowser, he reveals that he heard that Yoda left on a private vessel to the Sluis sector. Now this of course is where the Dagobah system is found, so the Archivist embarks on the mission and visits multiple worlds until she comes across Dagobah, one of the purest Force planets in the galaxy, which we first saw in The Empire Strikes Back. Now even Madeline herself, as a weak Force sensitive, was overwhelmed with how in tune she was with the living Force. She says, quote, "The aura on Dagobah was astonishing." But in focusing on the Force, she was not paying attention to danger when a giant swamp creature emerges and almost devours her. But luckily she survives when Yoda uses the Force to place her in front of the Cave of Evil, which, as we know from The Empire Strikes Back, is a large Force Vergence. Entering the cave subjects entrants to the Vergence's control, projecting their worst fears as apparitions and illusions. Now the next few panels really need to be interpreted because they are somewhat mysterious. We're not told what the Archivist saw in there because she says, "What I saw in that place is for me alone to know," but somehow this is where she physically transforms, away from a human-looking woman to a blue ghost-like appearance. But it's implied here that Yoda mentored her during her stay on Dagobah, but we don't know how long for. All she says is that she learned many things about the Force and herself, including how she was wrong about the dark side and the light. She learned that fear was a terrible path that led Force users down the dark route, and the fact that she says this is a massive indicator that Yoda taught her. And in one panel we see Yoda's silhouette as the Archivist leaves the planet to report back to Qi'ra, and at this stage she's a completely changed woman, and it all comes down to the fact that for a while she was Yoda's apprentice on Dagobah and he showed her the nature of the Force. The reason Yoda did this is probably because he sees a lot of potential, but going forward the comic series does have to explain a lot. They need to give us more information about her because she sounds more important than we thought. All I'm saying is right now there are so many unknowns, but interestingly enough the comic ends with her saying that once again she found happiness, because in a sense she got an education of the Force that no university in any part of the galaxy could ever teach her, and she lies to Qi'ra by not disclosing Yoda's location. Instead, she tells Qi'ra that Yoda is dead. Now, as I said, my dear friends, this comic was a flashback, but it calls into question the Archivist's true allegiances and motivations. Until now, she's come across as a servant of Crimson Dawn, but maybe she has something else up her sleeve, something we hopefully will see in a future issue. But let me know your thoughts of this in the comments down below. Did you enjoy this coverage of the comic? And if you did, please be sure to leave me a big fat thumbs up. Also be sure to hit subscribe if you're new, and a massive welcome if you are. And if you want more videos, more comics, and much more not found here on YouTube, then click the link down below. But until the next one, my dear friends, may the Force be with you always. I'm Star Wars Meg. Have a good one.